Welcome you to my feedback for English and talk with women in Marine Corps. Okay, so I joined the Marine Corps 11 years ago, 2006. Um, I would say the biggest thing that made me join the Marine Corps is that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to, none of my brothers and sisters ever left home, so I wanted to leave home. I wanted to go do something different, something that would actually mean something. So that's why I joined the Marine Corps. Was it hard for recruiters to make you join? Not at first. You mind asking me how do you hook you? Like, what makes you say, oh yeah, I'm down for this? Well, I wanted to join the Air Force first, but then most of my friends joined the Marine Corps and told me all these crazy things they did. So it wasn't very hard. I just walked into his office one day and said, hey, can I be a Marine? And he was like, yeah. So he did all the paperwork and stuff, and then I wound up getting disqualified due to medical reasons. But about 8 months later, I wound up being waived. So I got fortunate. They did the up surge, and they accepted my waiver, and then I made it in. So it wasn't hard for him to hook me, but it was hard to get there due to the medical waiver. I understand. During your 11 years in the Marine Corps, which has been your favorite experience? I would say mentoring, leading, and just the pride of doing something bigger than yourself. So no matter what we do, each day is our own personal accomplishment. Just wearing the uniform and being successful each day with the younger Marines that come in is something bigger than I'll ever be. And it's humbling to know that being in 11 years, I've made it to where I'm at, and that seeing the younger, ambitious, hungry Marines come in and they really want to make a difference and do things. So I think my favorite thing about the Marine Corps is, granted, don't get me wrong, each job has its time, its balance. But it's not just the Marine Corps, everywhere you go. So I would say just every day you come in, the teamwork, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, and everything we do in the Marine Corps is something no matter if you do 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, even 30 years, it's something you're going to miss. That's my favorite part about it. During 11 years, I know you did multiple combat tours. Which one of them do you think is the hardest to do? Was it when you first, like, younger, or as you went up, you had more responsibility? I think that the first and last has its own. The first is the first time I left the country. The longest I've been away from my family, but I was a younger Marine, so I didn't have as much responsibility. And my last one, I was a seasoned sergeant, and I had the responsibilities of a master sergeant. So it was more complex because I had to help and advise my company commander on making decisions that put Marines' lives in danger. So I think that was harder on the mental state of, hey, you gotta make these decisions, and they're not always going to work out the way you want them to. And I had to make sure I was mature enough and mentally able enough to handle those decisions, no matter the outcome. And on that deployment, we lost 2 Marines, but we did it the best we could, and there's no other way we could have done it. So that was those two. I would say had their own difficulties for different reasons. And last question, the Marine Corps, changed since the first one. Do you think Marine Corps is going in the right direction or wrong direction? Is it improving, increasing the part of the Marines? What do you think? I don't think the Marine Corps changed. I think the Marine Corps has always been the same. I think society's changed. I think that we are in a different society today. We're in we each have our own generation. When I came in, my generation had an age. I've been doing this for over a decade. But I think society today is different. Society today is not as, with technology as advanced as it is, with how easy and accessible things are. It's not used to the older days of where you didn't have computers or you didn't have smartphones or you didn't have the different things. All you had was the Marine Corps. So I think with society and the world changing, now there's other things that may sometimes be a distraction. And the Marine Corps is taking great steps
think the Marine Corps changed. I think it's society. But at the end of the day, I think that 95% of the Marines understand that what our jobs are, what our priorities are, and they would start putting their lives in the person to the left or right and hand. So I think the Marine Corps staying the same, but society.
How would you, what did you into the Marine Corps? If you're coming out of the Marine Corps, right, you went to the dark side officer, how would you think the Marine Corps? And you knew the president or the Congress support.
Well, I don't necessarily think I would change the Marine Corps. I would try to look for ways to, which our current Commonwealth is doing. I would try to look for ways to orient our current training in a way that the new society interprets it. So the new society may receive and be taught a different way. So I think you got to orient it that way because if you fail to adapt to the changes in the world and the changes in society, no matter who you are, you're going to get left behind. So you can't live in the old days. You got to adapt to the future without changing the standard of the Marine Corps. Just maybe changing the way that you interpret that to the new generation so they understand.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for participating, and thank you for everything you've done before.
No problem.
Yeah.